Hey everybody, Pastor Sam with your verse of the day for Gospel Gunslingers. We're really going to get after it today because, I caught a lot of static from my live stream over the weekend. People got mad at me when I preached on the Nephilim and said, now there were people from these heathen tribes that converted and were found in David's bodyguard and reigned with him over Israel. A lot of people got mad at me for that. Oh, how dare you say that these heathen tribes could ever find a place? That's for human. Okay, well, a lot of people got mad about that. Well, last night I preached against the heathen tribes and read from the Word about the Lord's judgment against them, and the squealing begins. This is hatred. You can almost hear the lisping, can't you? So hey, today we're going to just pound this point home because, listen, if I don't teach you, if I don't show you from the Bible, if I don't teach you where to look to understand the Lord's justice and His judgment and how kingdoms were brought back from the very, very edge of utter destruction from God, which is where America's at, if you haven't figured that out, we may be able to get one more teeny tiny little golden age here. Half a generation, maybe? That's what happened here in 2 Kings 23. This is Josiah, the righteous king, but after many kings, this is the end of the dynasty. It's getting ready to go down. So Josiah became king when he was 8. He started to grow up when he was 18. He got the silver and the gold and ordered the temple of the Lord to be cleaned out and restored. When that happened, they found the book of the law. And when he read the book of the law, when it was read before him, he consulted a prophetess, a lady prophet. And she said, the judgment of the Lord will not be escaped. It cannot be turned away. But because this man did great deeds in tearing down idol worship, he was granted another generation. It did not come. The judgment of God, the utter destruction did not come in his lifetime. So here, let's get to the verse. 23:5. And he put down the idolatrous priests whom the kings of Judah had ordained to burn incense in the high places in the cities of Judah and in the places round about Jerusalem. Them also that burned incense unto Baal, to the sun, and to the moon, and to the planets, and all the hosts of heaven. All right, and then he starts breaking down idols. Now, that's just the beginning. Those of you that are staying for the long play, we're going to get into the real troublemakers and what he did. A lot of people think that the life decisions and the, what do they call it, the tendencies of people, their orientation, their alignment, they think that they're very modern in choosing to go in some direcciones torcidas, some twisted paths. But here's what Josiah the righteous king did, verse 7. And he brake down the houses of the Sodomites that were by the house of the Lord, where the women wove hangings for the grove. All right, so right up against the Lord's house, this was going on. There was sex prostitution, male prostitution, and child sacrifice. And all of it's right here in this chapter, so you can just crack open your own King James Bible to 2 Kings 23 and read how Israel was so similar to what we're dealing with today in the United States of America, and how if you wanted to find a glory hole, that the place to go looking is right up in the church or right next to it. Well, guess what? That's the status quo for today. So let's just see a little bit more about what he did. Verse 12, and the altars that were on the top of the upper chamber of Ahaz, which the kings of Judah had made, the altars which Manasseh had made in the two courts of the house of the Lord, did the king beat down and break them down from thence and cast the dust of them into the brook Kidron. So this is where they threw their trash. This was kind of their dump, and it's excavated to great depths today because there's so much junk in there that tells about the different epochs of Israel in that brook Kidron. It was a very, very steep place, and they just throw stuff over the hill. 14, and he brake in pieces the images and cut down the groves and filled their places with the bones of men. Okay, so who thinks they're going to have a reformation without this? Without utter destruction of all the imagery of hedonism. And it's not only that. There will be blood. There will be blood. Verse 20, and he slew all the priests of the high places that were there upon the altars, and burned men's bones upon them, and returned to Jerusalem. Then they keep a covenant. and they keep the Passover. The Passover had not been kept all the time of the judges, so for centuries the people weren't keeping the feasts. Guess what? That's something we can change this very year. There's feasts coming up. I'm Pastor Sam. That's your verse of the day for Gospel Gunslingers.